Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha.
सुधाधारा सारैः चरणयुगलान्तर्विगलितैः प्रपञ्चं सिञ्चन्ति पुनरपि रसाम्नाय महसः अवाप्य स्वां भूमिं भुजगनिभमध्युष्टवलयम् स्वमात्मानं कृत्वा स्वपिशिकुलकुण्डे कुहरिणी.
So few words. Sudha. Sudha means nectar. Amratam. Ambrosia. Sudha Dhara means the stream of nectar. Sudha Dhara Sari. That means the nectar gushing from the feet of mother. Charana Yugal Antarvigalitai. These words are to be read with the first two. Sudha Dhara Sari. Charana Yugal Antarvigalitai. Which means that is the inner quality, that is melting of mother's feet in the way of Amritam or Sudha. Right? When we say melting, it should be taken as compassion being radiated from the lotus feet of Tripura Sundari. Prapancham Sinchanti. Prapancha means the domain of five tattvas. Sinchanti means that is to be now irrigated. That is to be now irrigated. So this prapancha is to be irrigated. Punah api rasamnaya mahasa. Ras amnaya mahasa. See, based on the chakras, we have amnayas of the system in Tantra, where you focus your attention, where you conduct your worship, where you offer your deity the worship. Amnaya is decided. Therefore, there are Shadamna. How many Amnayas are there? 6 Amnayas. So, how many chakras are there from the top down? 6 chakras. Shadamna. Okay. Rasamnaya. So, instead of saying chakras, Shankar is using the word Amnaya. Rasamnaya. When we say rasa, how many type of tastes you have? How many types of taste? Mithu, you were saying something.
6.
6 tastes, right? Instead of saying 6, he is saying rasa. Rasa amnaya. Amnaya. Instead of chakra, he is saying amnaya. You may ask, why he is making it so complicated? Out of mercy, out of compassion. Because using these words will embed some mantras in it. Using these letters will imbibe some mantras in it. Otherwise, if you use the word Shad Chakra, that will not be a mantra, which he is intending to put into this shloka. So Rasa Amnaya means 6 chakras, Mahasa. Okay. Avapya swam, avapya. Vyapti is the word. Vyapti. Okay, which means having arrived at. Vyapti means something which has become equally available, which has distributed itself in a region, right? For example, if you take this sentence of Hindi, after, I'm saying it in English though, but the sentence you will understand, after having heard the firing of terrorists, क्या हो गया? माहौल में भय व्याप्त हो गया. ठीक है, वातावरण में भय व्याप्त हो गया. तो व्याप्ति is something which means percolated to each and every place in a region. Vyapti, right? Avapya swam bhumim. So swam means swayam, of course. Bhumim, bhumim means home of Kundalini, Muladhara. So having come back home. Bhujag nibham, like a serpent. ट-वलय. Adhyushta means 3.5. Okay. Valayam. Swamatmanam kritva swapeshi kulakunde kuharini. Which means that the individual self, where it is kept, individual self, it is kept in Swadhisthana and Muladhara. Your home, though it may be said that our consciousness resides in Muladhara, however, that is not true. Our consciousness operates from Swadhisthana. Why? Because basically we want to relate to others, people, things, places. The relationship, cohesion is our inherent nature. A man would not prefer to be ordinarily, unless until he is extraordinary. He would never want to be alone, forever alone. He would need some connections, right? So this inherent tendency to connect to people, connect to the outer environment, relate to the outer environment, means we are not self-centric. Muladhara Chakra means you are only concerned with self. Whereas Swadhisthana means due to your attraction, due to your natural tendencies, due to your karma, you want to connect with people. So having come back to the Bhumi, which means Muladhara Chakra, where it is the place where Kundalini continues to sleep, right? It sleeps again. Now, that infinite Shakti, which was Shiva Shaktya Yukto, now gets converted into individual soul as a Kundalini. The same now becomes limited. This limited expression of that infinite expression is known as infinite potentiality, is known as Kundalini. And it is also known as Jiva. Correct. So, roughly, it should be taken as this, whole meaning of this. With the streams of nectar gushing from thy feet, with the streams of nectar gushing from thy feet, irrigating the 5 elements, Prapancha, again from the region of illumination, that means the region of Sahasrara, highest source, thy feet, which irrigates all the 5 elements. This stream is descending from Sahasrara, which irrigates all the 5 tattvas and gets back into its home, is Muladhara, which is its home. In Muladhara, that Shakti gets converted into Jiva, individual self. Having irrigated all the 6 chakras, it reaches home and then it gets converted into Jivatman. And Kundalini has been stated to be a snake which has 3.5 coils. Correct. Now this is the literal meaning. Prior to this, we had understood the shloka, which was Mahim Mooladhare Kamapi Manipure Hutavaham Sthitam Swadhisthane Hridi Marutam Akasham Upari Mano api Bhru Madhye Sakala Mapi Bhitva Kulapatham Sahasrare Padme Saharahasi Patya Viharase. This was the earlier shloka. And the next shloka is in continuation with this shloka. The shloka which we are studying now is in continuation with the previous one. Having pierced through all the chakras, having reached the final destination Sahasrara, where that individual Kundalini becomes one with the Shiva and assumes the illumination of, assumes the potentiality of Shakti herself, the Jiva becomes Shakti. Right? It doesn't stay there always. Please understand. You should know that the spiritual illumination happens in flashes. It's not a continuous process. It's a continual process. Right? It is not a continuous process that someone is always in Shakta Samavesh, always in that Shiva Shakti Samavesh. Because till the time you have this body and till the time you are connected with the Prapancha, you'll have to assume the role of Jivatma. This individuality will manifest over and again. Right? The challenge is to be in this individuality and continue to operate from there, which later on is achieved. Teachers tell us that it's a possibility wherein we can alternately switch between our cosmic identity as well as limited individual identity. Continually. Teachers tell us that we can always remember our divine nature as well as we can also engage in this materialistic world which we have created through our own free will. However, the difference between an individual who has not been able to experience its divine nature will be of sukha and dukkha. Yet, the one who has achieved the highest, one who has got into that highest experience of cosmic union with that Shiva, with the existence, once you see yourself as one with the cosmic existence, which is Shiva, then it is said like there is this stream of Amritam which comes down from Sahasrara, which irrigates each and every chakra, which means look at your life and look at your experience. You are having fire in every chakra. You're burning. Is it not? No chakra is at ease. Every chakra is agitated. Look at your life. Go to Mooladhara, insecurity. Go to Swadhisthana, relationships are bad. Or the Kama principle is too much. Go to Manipura, greed or fear or anger. Go to this Anahat Chakra, only self, no giving, concerned with only self, individual life, individual security, individual expression, and only about self, always thinking only about self, right? No love, only transaction, okay, only give and take. Go to Vishuddha Chakra, we don't have much of control on our even speech, right? We don't have much of control over what kind of thoughts are coming into our head. Then go to Agya Chakra. We are always either in the past or in the future. We don't stay in the present. So every chakra is agitated. And every chakra will come to its own natural state of contentment when that irrigation happens. You see? Irrigation starts when you are able to reach that tap and switch that on. Right? How do you reach there? By detaching yourself. Suppose you are very thirsty. I'm giving this example. You are very thirsty and you have a tank, a reservoir, which is almost of infinite capacity, having all the sweetness of water, all the whatever nutrition you want is available there. But it is on the 7th floor of your apartment. Okay. The 7th floor apartment, you have to go and turn it on once. To go to the 7th floor of your apartment, you'll have to leave the 1st floor, ground floor, 2nd floor, 3rd floor, and so on and so forth. Right? You can't say I can be here also and there also. Yes or no? That means for once also, if you have been able to detach yourself from the lower ladders and reach the top source and switched it on once, that gushing of the nectar continues. You don't have to do it again and again. This is what is indicated in this shloka. Having achieved the union with the cosmic existence, which is Shiva, recognizing yourself like that, then coming back as individuality, as a nartak, as a dancer, you play your role, fully recognizing who you are, switching your identities at your will. Right? There is no switching rather. It's full recognition. For example, anyone who goes to office and is employed by, let's say, a very, very reputed corporate house, you may be identifying yourself as, I'm the vice president, I'm the AVP, or I'm the president, I'm CEO, right? But at the end of the day, and this is literally at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you recognize you are none of it. You have to go back home and relate with the people for whom you were none of it. Yes or no? So do you ever forget while you are working in office that you have a home where you will be finding peace, rest, rejuvenation? Simply, you cannot. And therefore, once you have reached your highest home in this system, your home is, the Jivatman home is Kundalini in the Mooladhara. But its cosmic identity, which it is truly, its home is with the husband. Sahasrare padme sah rahasi patyaviharase. She has to go back, this individual self will have to go back to Sahasrara to have a union with the Shiva, experiencing the cosmic reality. Now, this is done each day, but in our unawareness. You see, when we are saying irrigation happens, all the chakras are irrigated, are you not having the same experience of getting irrigated and rejuvenated when you go to deep sleep? And what is deep sleep? When you have disidentified yourself with all what is. In the domain of your manobuddhi, indriya manobuddhi, ahankara, everything is dropped. That's a natural process. It's the mother's grace that she does it to us. Because Jivatman needs to be united with that cosmic experience on regular basis in order to rejuvenate itself. And this rejuvenation happens in deep sleep. Now, the purpose of whole Adhyatmic sadhana or spiritual practice is to bring that unconscious union, which is happening in the deep sleep, to a waking consciousness state. That's it. Right? And that has to happen only once. And once you have done it, it's possible all the time at your will. Now, I'll tell you the example and then you'll understand. You have to learn riding the bicycle only once. Once you have learned riding the bicycle, even if you're woken up from your sleep and you're asked to drive a bicycle, you'll be able to do it. Yes or no? That means, though unconsciously we are getting this rejuvenation on each night, what we are supposed to do now, we should be able to do exactly what happens in the sleeping process. To be able to recognize this process of rejuvenation once. How does that happen? By relinquishing your identifications, giving up your attachments, and of course your readiness to embrace the infinite. Right? Have you not seen little kids who will keep, if you just give them, let's say some toffee, chocolates, whatever, lollipops, they will grab it, one piece or two pieces, and then ask them that, do you want more? They say, I want more. Right? And then offer them more, but they won't open their fist because they are so much attached. No, I want. Do you think such a kid will ever be able to take more? Because he or she is not relinquishing, not even giving up, not even letting that fist open. This is our state of being. Let us recognize it. We are unable to relinquish the little, and unless we do it, we'll never be able to grab the infinite or grab something bigger than that. Even if it is, you take that our palms are little, how can we grab infinite? That recognition may come later, right? However, to have anything bigger than what you are having, you should be able to do away with that. For example, those who want to live in a bigger house, what will be your modus operandi? Leave this small house, shift into your house. Can it happen that way? That you don't leave this place physically ever and shift into a new house? No. So simply understand this, that the Shakti experience is of rejuvenation. Shakti experience is of irrigation. Shakti experience is of unconditional compassion. But to recognize this, you have to first disidentify yourself with whatever you have attached to. Identify your attachments and just think. Think. Proper thinking is needed. No process can liberate you. Only the right kind of thinking can liberate you. Now think about it. Think about, all of you, please. Think one or the two things which are holding you on the lower three chakras. Find out. I give you 2 minutes. Okay. Could you identify any? सब लोगों को मिला कुछ कुछ? चलो शुरू करें, कोई तो बताए।
आचार्य जी, श्री अच्छा।
Go ahead.
Basically, relationship duties and responsibility as different roles as individual is holding.
Okay. Anyone else? Only one thing, right? Relationship.
Yes, sir. Yes, Acharya.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Just Poonam.
I feel the concern, the responsibilities for the family, especially the children, and a little bit of job stress. Those are the things that are keeping me in this.
Others are good.
Others are I don't find myself so concerned about others, except these two areas mostly. Yeah.
Yes, Nandita, you wanted to say something?
Acharya, fear from fear of disease for myself and my relationships, fear of pain, and another fear there is, which I will share with you when once I meet you. So basically fear.
Okay. Fear and fear and fear.
That's what is holding me back, this fear.
That is good. Otherwise, you will run away, na? It's holding you back good.
But want to feel free and
You want to run away?
Yeah, not run away, but feel free.
Feel free, okay. You can feel free as you're feeling fearful, both. Okay, where does your fear go when you dream?
When I'm deep sleep, I'm not aware. When I dream, sometimes I don't. Fear is there in my dreams a little bit when I dream weird things, but when deep sleep, of course, there is no fear.
Okay. So what do we do to sleep? Okay, let us analyze now. Now, all of you have probably understood what is to be dropped and what is to be at least mentally relinquished in your understanding. Correct? We cannot say that all the time we can live like that. But for the moment you want to reach to the seventh floor, you should have that, is it not? That's the grace, mother's grace. That you have to see. You can live millions of life in the mode of sinning, a serial sinner. Okay, but one lifetime, for one moment, if you are able to intensify your detachment and reach that state where you can switch on that knob, it's done. That's the beauty. Nothing comes in the way.
Acharya, I was able to do that in my recent experience. I was able to do that, but I'm not being able to hold on to it.
No problem. You have been able to do that. So out of habit, you are again holding. If you can do it once, you can do it again also, right? You can do it every time. The only thing is that you don't want to, right? Everyone, I'm not talking to only Nandita, every one of us. But how long you can deny, how long you can deny yourself, your true identity? Someday or the other, you would know that I am not this body, right? Someday or the other, mother will create that opportunity for you to recognize that you are not the body. But that will be too late, because, yeah, that is too late. We have to recognize it while we are having this body. Then we can actually relish the joy of it, or else it's useless. Yes or no?
Acharya,
If
I
you
thought
talk,
this, sorry for interrupting.
please.
No, I thought this experience was that. I thought this experience was teaching me that, but I couldn't experience the separation, that this is not my body. I could experience a lot of other things where I totally surrendered. And when I was at the table, I actually remembered you, and I only did japam because I stopped thinking about other people, my relationships, because I know that didn't matter. So what I did, I was just doing the japam. But that separation, I couldn't feel that this is not the body.
Because you wanted, see, all the japa was for what? To hold on to the body. How can you feel the separation? You see? Understood? Whole intent was to stay in the body. You understand? No? When you go to operation theatre, what is our prayer for? Prayer is for continuation of life. Yes or no? What is continuation of life? Being able to stay in this body, fully knowing that unless we stay in this body, unless our presence is unified with this body, the world cannot be experienced. And this dream is going to get over. Or whatever experience, even if we don't call it a dream. If this experience is not going to be available to us. So what is our prayer and what is our intention? Hold on to body. Accidentally, it may happen that some process goes haywire, and our doctors failed, don't give you a proper, what you call, oxygen during your operation, may have committed some mistake, and suddenly everything start dipping, and then your presence is felt beyond the body. That happens. That may happen, right? But ask about the patient, ask about the one who is going to the operation theater. He wants to cling to the body. Who will experience the separation? Only some, malfunction will probably allow that that opportunity window for you to experience it. If at all, that way, that time your consciousness is awake. Okay, correct. So separation, you need to feel. See, we are already feeling it. I'm not saying that you don't feel it. Each one of you are feeling it. And each one of us truly know that we exist despite our body. Even if the body is cut in two pieces, we know we exist. Right? Even if some vital organs are taken out and then replaced, we know we existed prior to that process and we will continue to exist after that. Does that happen or not? So we know that our presence is not in the body. We are present incidentally, experiencing this world as if we are in the body. Right? And only in your waking, and that too only when you're connected with your indriyas, or else you're experiencing this world in your mind. Right? Not even through your indriyas. You're only experiencing through your mind. Because hardly we are available in the present where we are using our faculties. See, complete engagement of our faculties in the present moment is a far off thing. We don't do it. We take a little stimulus, little input, and then we engage in our cooking our mixed vegetable. And that is mental process. Yes or no? Look at someone and then start imagining about him. Start commenting about him. Start creating opinions about that person. This is what we do. We take little input and then we create a big balloon out of it. And this ballooning is done in our mind, by the way. And no other faculty is involved. Those are not the eyes which you are looking through in this world. You use some other eyes in your mind to see things. Yes or no? If you close your eyes, do you see things? Yes, I see. If you close your ears, do you see some sounds? Yes, you see. Do you listen to that? Right? In fact, even if we are not using these ears and eyes, we are able to see and we are able to hear, we are able to sense. Correct or not? Otherwise, look at it. In your dream, how can you be seeing, tasting, running, smelling, whatnot? Everything is done. But you fully know that in your dream experience, this body was defunct. This body was not utilized. These eyes were not used. These ears were not used. Right or not? But you fully recognize a separate body you have created and you operate through that. That is called subtle body. Subtle body, through that subtle body, you experience the subtle world. Right? Okay. Then you'll ask, is that subtle body available in the waking? You see, there are three bodies. And let us understand that. The causal, the subtle, and the material or physical. Okay, these are the three levels of our experience, correct? When we say causal, causal is that which is your individuality, jivatman. That's the causal. When you move from causal to subtle, it is like causal plus subtle. Flowering has happened, but the substratum continues to be there, which means now there are two. Now there are two. Means in your dream, there is one body which is causal, another body which is subtle. Both are with you. On the substratum of causal, there is another experience which is called subtle body. When you experience this waking state, what happens? You have another body also now. You have a causal body, you have a subtle body, even in the waking. Let us be clear. And then you have a physical body also. Right? You give importance to physical more. But let me tell you, you don't give as much importance to physical. You still continue to live in the subtle. More in the subtle. Or your mental projections, imaginations, recall and imagination is happening at the level of mental. All your calculations, assessments, intuitions, decisions are being taken at the subtle level. You see, decision making ability is not of the physical body. Decision making ability is of the subtle body. Physical body doesn't have a capacity to make a decision. Physical body doesn't have the capacity to imagine things. Please understand that. Only subtle body has it. Physical body doesn't have any. Which means what? When we are in the waking state, we are using both the bodies, which is subtle and material, subtle and physical, subtle and gross, on the substratum of causal, which is individuality, soaked in the ignorance. Okay, correct. So what should be our approach then? We fully know that we live most of our life in the subtle, right? You're not living your life physically as much as you're living your life subtly. सूक्ष्म शरीर से ही हम जी रहे हैं, स्थूल शरीर से जी नहीं रहे. और सूक्ष्म शरीर, the subtle body is capable of giving you all the experiences which you are having in the gross. So the experiencing capacity, ability is with the subtle, not with the gross. Therefore, you are already living as a subtle body. The physicality has given you some more options of getting inputs from the outer world to enrich or to disturb or manipulate your inner and give more data to your subtle body. However, let me tell you, in the physical body, you have limited access to even data. In the physical waking experience, when you're using your physical body, you have limited capacity of capturing external inputs. The subtle is even more powerful. There are no limits to it. So all your siddhis, all your capacities, all your intellect, whatever way you have planned to think, whatever way you oriented yourself. So you are scientist not by this body. You are scientist by your subtle body. You are not doctor by this body. You are doctor by your subtle body. Understand? You are not a mason by this body. You are mason by your subtle body. You are not the sadhaka by physical body. You are the sadhaka by subtle body. Now, see how much clear it is. That we are already living our life in subtle and we need to work on subtle. That's it. First identify what is this subtle and how to work on it. What can we do? And how it is related with this experience of Kundalini. Right? The experience of Kundalini, which is mentioned in this shloka, is about you getting back to your causal state. Right? And I have proved that you are not physical entity anymore. You were never so, although you thought that the physicality matters. In fact, the subtlety matters. Without this subtle, physical has no meaning, no capacities. So who you are? Certain systems will tell you that you are that replica of your physicality which is in subtle. They will not ask you to engage in sadhana using this body. They will say, if you want to do sadhana, first get your mental picture clear about yourself and sit there using that body. That's the system many teachers are using. But they have become a cult because they are not giving that full understanding of why it is being done. They are not giving even the window of knowledge for them. They say this is the truth. You are that subtle which is available in your mental space. Can you see yourself in your mental state? Of course you can. In the beginning, you may find it little tough, little difficult to visualize each and every aspect of yours in the subtle. Right or not? This is how I look. Internally, if I have created myself, now this is the body which would be engaged in doing sadhana. Right? And from this subtle, you have to move to which place? To the causal. At the level of causality only, the Kundalini works. So ascension of Kundalini is possible once you have denounced even this subtlety to you. Right? So our journey is to first completely understand. As I said, right kind of thinking will make us good sadhak, a capable sadhak, not the one who is struggling. You don't have to struggle. The physicality has anyways no meaning. Right? But during sadhana, this physicality needs to be tamed so that it is not engaged in collecting more and more data from the outside. That's it. Understand? So all sort of mudras, all sort of initial requirement that you should be in a quiet place, you should not be surrounded by fragrant objects, you should not be too hot, too cold, air should not be blowing like that. So everything should be quiet so that minimum sensory perception, the minimum sensory disturbances are captured, and that is how your subtle existence is not disturbed. So you do your sadhana using your subtle existence, that is Sukshma Sharir. You don't do sadhana using your physical body. The experience of Kundalini is also going to happen in your Sukshma Sharir. Okay.
Acharya ji, एक question है. How do I know when I'm sitting in sadhana that I am in that subtle and not just imagining?
No, you are. Everyone is. Okay. Now the point is, this subtlety is identified with the gross. That's the problem. You are in your subtle. You can't live without subtle. You are in your sadhana as subtle only. However, this subtlety is concerned with the reality of the gross. And therefore, it's not essentially subtle. It has all the garbage of the physicality. Let me give you this example.
Okay.
In your subtle, close your eyes, in your subtle, I'm not asking you to go to that extreme of certain systems where you need to imagine yourself as a male, female, or what, right? I'm asking you to just become aware of your subtle faculties which are still active while you are wakeful. Just close your eyes and find out, in that presence and in that light in which you experience this world, are you a male or a female? What is the name of that subtlety which is experiencing this gross? Because this subtlety has no name, no gender. It's a functionality each one of us has. Yes or no? It is yes. Antahakarana. It is inner organ. The set of all inner organs along with the tanmatras is known as subtle body. Okay. Now this subtle body has no gender. This subtle body has no correlation with the external unless we willingly want to. Right or not? So when you have closed your eyes, not seeing anything of the outer, but it is now your choice to still remember and attach your all hooks and all anchors to the physicality that, oh, there is my son, there is my dog, there is my cat. Right?
So Acharya ji, I have a question. So that means that when you're feeling that you're nobody, then you can experience.
See, you don't have to feel you are no one, you are already no one. Don't allow anyone else to enter your
I mean, when you, in the past, when you said
you will become someone only when somebody else enters your subtlety. Becoming someone is not possible without allowing someone to get in. You are already no one only. ज्योति जी, इसके लिए कोई साधना नहीं करनी है. इसके लिए साधना सिर्फ यही करनी है कि I don't want external inputs. I don't want to carry any physical gross experience in my subtle. I want to be here. That's it. As a faculty, as a functionality, which is called man, buddhi, ahankara, and the tanmatras, because this is you at the level of subtle.
So Acharya ji,
there is one thing more, and then I'll answer you.
Sure.
But there is one thing more which we need to work on. That is being taken care of by yoga sutras we are studying. That is chittam you are carrying, which is reservoir of all the memories. Now you should have that much command to shut it down. You see, you are not directly perceiving anything from the outside because you are closed eye. You are not hearing anything because you are sitting in a silent place. Right? Nobody is tickling you. Right? But still you are getting all sort of sensations. From where they are coming? From your vrittis. Now, understand what is a vritti. Vrittis are our repeated actions. Yeah, Ramesh.
So when you sit in, and as I've gone through, I'm doing sadhana every day, right? So now as I sit, sometimes there's that moment of blankness, nothingness. But it's only momentary. It is when I have no thoughts about what ye bahar ka ye chinta hai, wo kuch nahi hai. Not even a thought about my body. It's just,
Good.
But it's only momentary.
No, let it be that moment. Enjoy that moment. Prolong that moment. See, momentary when you say, that is also not the right word.
Maybe not, because I'm getting a boundary.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because when you experience such moments, there is no sense of time also. You may call it momentary only because you have not been able to stay there and get the rasa. You see? Sudhara sare, which means you have not been able to taste it properly.
Sure.
That is why your lack of experience, the lack of engagement is calling it momentary, is giving it a tag of momentary.
Sure.
Right? You may not know whether your experience was for a minute or for a second. However, you will still call it momentary. Why? Yes. Because in any case, you did not, absorb that moment with you.
Right.
Why you did not absorb? Because you don't have any taste for it.
Can I make one point? Sorry, just a follow through, right? A little while back when you said about the separation from the body and experience the joy, the thing which I feel is there is a gap between the two, a void, to get to that state of experiencing the joy. And I'm not there.
Okay. See, step by step. The first step is being able to switch off our vrittis, lock up our memories. Why your meditation's effort to meditation fails or does not succeed? Patanjali is talking about it very clearly. Only because of your smriti. And of course, there is something which is called vasana. Not even a smriti is needed. Your whole body energies are moving in such a way. Kami hinari piyari jime lobhi samadam. So some person is so sexual that closes his eyes, doesn't have to get into any memory. He's already always in that. A miser or a businessman who's always thinking of money, he closes his eyes, he is never away from the money. He doesn't have to even go to the smriti part that has become vasana for him. Vasana means coloring. The whole chittam is colored in that kind of a circular movement of thoughts. So you're never out of it. So what are your circular thoughts? What are your vrittis? Identify them and then get rid of it so that you can utilize being in the subtle. You are already in subtle. Without subtlety, there is no physicality. Please recognize it. If this subtle is shut down, your physicality is of no meaning. In all your surgeries, what is being done? This is not affected by the subtle. No, that's it. That is called anesthesia. Blocking all the channels, the finest of receptors in the gross, which can connect to subtle as well. Block them. So the subtle cannot enter the gross. And when the subtle doesn't enter the gross has no sense. No sense or no capacity to even sense.
Acharya ji, a question, just one question here. When you're saying gross, then when I'm giving an example of when I'm sitting in meditation, for example, I mean, the world doesn't stop. There'll be noise outside and all. So if it is falling in your ears, I mean, even though you are not reacting to it, it just falls. So is that you're moving between subtle and gross, or you're still in subtle at that time? because you're not reacting to it. It does fall on your ears, that sensation.
Okay, let me give you this awareness. You are wherever your attention is. That is what you need to know. You are wherever your attention is. If your attention goes to the sound made, then of course you have gone to grass. Right? Because if you are truly in subtle, only subtle things will bother you. I'll also give you an example as you are giving. Suppose you are thinking too deep into a problem or a challenge which you faced in your life. Suddenly, you're too engrossed in solving it mentally and putting all permutations and combinations and all sort of prayers which you know mentally, and people around making noise, making a lot of discussions about the latest which is going on in this world, but you don't hear them. Do you? Which simply means now you are in subtle. Whatever it be, it may be something engaging, but which is something which is not thoughtlessness, it's an engrossed thought. And that is why Patanjali is very cleverly saying there is a gap in between, which Prakashji was, Rameshji was saying, that there is little gap, and that gap is of dharana. Tantra is giving you that leeway, where you have to have that dharana, where your inner is engrossed in something which is inner. So that you don't have any room for the outer to allow in. Got it? Suppose you are thinking of a Devi, such a grand, beautiful lady, who is like so powerful. And so just think about this and you'll understand. Just visualize it. And then you'll understand how Tantra is allowing you these simple things, simple shlokas with lot of visual inputs, lot of visions, right? Look at it. Such is the power. Haristwamaradhya pranata jana saubhagya janani pura nari bhutva puraripumapi shobhamanayat smarupitvam natvaratine lehe navapusha muni namapyantah prabhavati mohaya mahata. Now think about it. Contemplate over it. Think of the power which this cosmic lady Shakti is radiating. Avidyanamantastimiramihradvipanagari yadanam chaitanyastabakamakrandasyati tadidranam chintamani gunanika janmajalatav nimagnanam dansha murarikuvarahasya bhavati. Now think about it. If you get engaged here, there is no place for the outer. But you have to. So you have to find an object of dharana. Understand? So that is why if you want to stay in the subtle, you have to have an object of dharana. Something which is full of the sense of awe, beauty, the radiance, joy, the fountain of power. That is something which you should need to, right? And I tell you, you can imagine anything. However, imagining anything may again take you back to the physicality. Shankracharya very cleverly using all those things which are existing internally. Most of the examples are internal. They're not taking away from your subtle. So you stay engaged in the internal and in the pursuit of something which is not external, which is very important. So use these shlokas to elevate your consciousness from the subtle to causal. I have told you are already subtle. Don't just allow the gross to contaminate, give this wavering to your subtle. Don't allow the gross to excite and agitate your subtle. And once you are able to do it, how you will be able to come to this conclusion, this kind of experience, only by Abhyasa Vairagya. Now you have to learn yoga. We are not studying anything which is otherwise. We are studying everything which will make us more wise. Okay. Abhyasa Vairagya, Abhyam Tan Nirodha means definitely will have to live this world as if this is only a time pass, only duty oriented, only dharma oriented, only a play oriented. If it happens, good. If it doesn't happen, good. If it succeeds, good. It doesn't, then also it's good. Right? This is how Vairagya is the practice. Not attaching too much your self-esteem, your ego, your pride on everything. Don't try to become a very nice person. I'm telling you this because if you become a nice person, someday you will start feeling like I am the nicest of all. And that is crystallization of ego. You are not able to come out of it. Right? The last time I did tell you that go do some chori, do some pickpocketing, get beaten for it, so that you have that experience also. You can never claim that you are Dharmatma. You will not be able to do it. Right? So, having understood this so far, what is the ultimate for us to recognize here? Only one thing, that at the level of our chakras, the Shakti which we experience at the highest of our experience, that is what is called Sahasrara. Once that is experienced, there is a natural tendency of calming down of all the chakras. Otherwise it cannot happen. So जिंदगी में संतोष तब आएगा जब हमको अपने होने का, अपनी सच्ची आइडेंटिटी का पता चल जाए. ये आग कब बुझेगी? तभी बुझेगी, उसके पहले नहीं बुझेगी. This inner fire which is continuously burning us, it will douse only when the Sudhadhara Sarais Charana Vigalantar Vigalitai Prapancham Sinchan Punarapirasam Nayamasa. Like this, you'll have to experience this Shakti. You'll have to do it once. Only once. If it happens once, it is done. Your job is done. Okay. But that one day, one moment is little tough to earn. Little tough. Our Mother's grace is all infinite, compassion is all infinite. So it may happen that you don't do anything, it might happen. So engage yourself in the subtle, engage in this world with the Vairagya, minimum of me, my mind. Live a duty-oriented or playful life where everything is okay. है ना? हारना भी ठीक है, जीतना भी ठीक है, जीना भी ठीक है, मरना भी ठीक है, किसी का और का, अपना नहीं, है ना? क्योंकि अपना मरना हो गया तो फिर क्या साधना करेंगे? तो ठीक है, थोड़ा शरीर को बचाओ, थोड़ा कोशिश करो, स्वस्थ रहो, ये सब ठीक है, राइट? लेकिन ये भी बहुत ज्यादा नहीं, क्योंकि सटल में कुछ दिन एक्सपीरियंस कर लोगे तो तुमको लगेगा कि सटल तो ऑलवेज रहता ही रहता है. इट ऑलवेज स्टेज विद अस. Even when we are not aware of this physical body, we are aware of it, right? So कोशिश करेंगे और फिर इस श्लोक का मर्म धीरे धीरे कभी क्लियर हो जाएगा. ये तो शंकराचार्य जी बता रहे, ये तो डायरेक्टली उनको मिला था कैलाश से. ये तो 41 श्लोक तक तो उनको पूरा वहीं से मिला हुआ है, उसमें कुछ कहने की जरूरत नहीं है. इट इज नॉट हिज एक्सपीरियंस और इट्स अ वे ऑफ narrating his experience of visiting Kailasha. 41 is authentically talking about inner. So in the first 41 there is sadhana which is inner. In the next there is ritualistic, in which you'll have to take the help of outer as well. So wherever you fit in, this is the Shambhavopai of, we are going through the Shambhavopai of or Shaktopai of Saundarya Lahri here, right? Not the Adavopai. Adavopai will come later, after 41. Okay. So let us just read it once more, and then we will talk a little bit of how we can use this mantra for other noble purposes.
सुधाधारा सारैः चरणयुगलान्तर्विगलितैः प्रपञ्चं सिञ्चन्ति पुनरपि रसाम्नाय महसः अवाप्य स्वां भूमिं भुजगनिभमध्युष्टवलयम् स्वमात्मानं कृत्वा स्वपिशिकुलकुण्डे कुहरिणी.
So this is shloka number 10, which we have just discussed. This is used for purification of body. Purification of body, which means if you are doing all sort of Nadi Shodhan, Tattva Shodhan, this is the mantra which you should use. Not all the time. Before you approach your Nadi Shodhan, before you approach your Tattva Shodhan, you can do it. See, as our knowledge improves, the actionables also continue to pile up. And at the end of it, after 2-3 years, you'll ask, क्या करें क्या ना करें? अभी तो पटोरते रहो, फिर बाद में पूछोगे अच्छा ये वाला छोड़ दे, हाँ छोड़ दो. फिर आपकी साधना में वही हो जाएगा, जैसी थारी रहा वैसी मारी रहा है. ठीक है, जो आप कर रहे हो वो ठीक है, क्योंकि इतना हो जाएगा इकट्ठा कि you will find it difficult to do this or do that. Okay, so purification of the body, and this is also for that youthfulness. And here the meditation is to be done, or it should be imagined, Devi sitting in the lap of Lord Shiva, in close embrace. Okay. This is the imagination. So hoping that you people have understood little bit of your current state, which is, of course, as I said, is subtle only. From subtle, we need to move to the causal. And this subtle will become causal the moment it is impression free of all your vrittis. That's the hint. Okay. Right? This subtle itself is going to become causal. You don't have to work and achieve anything. The moment your body identification is gone, the identification from the gross is gone, you are only dealing with your only vrittis and sanskaras and smritis in your subtle. Once that is also shut down, you know the trick. This is causal. Okay. You don't have to do much. कुछ करना वरना नहीं, ऐसे बैठे बैठे हो जाता. ठीक है. So thank you so much for all of you giving so much time.